Hello, I'm Jessica Vassos, Industry Director for the Test and Measurement Group at Frost & Sullivan. As we enter the last quarter of calendar year 2012, we're starting to work on the content for 2013. This short presentation provides a quick overview of the General Purpose Test Program in 2012 and objectives and topics for 2013. As a preface, I'd like to point out that this presentation is specifically focused on the electronics test and measurement market. This is the program that covers what is traditionally referred to as a test and measurement market, meaning general purpose test equipment, ATE, and data acquisition equipment. It covers box instruments including oscilloscopes, signal generators, spectrum analyzers, network analyzers, power meters, digital multimeters, etc., as well as modular instrumentation based on the VXI, PXI, and AXI standards. It also covers ATE equipment including PCB ATE, avionics, and semiconductor ATE. Other markets that fall under the purview of this program would be the used and rental market for the equipment mentioned above, and the calibration and repair services market, among others. The Test and Measurement Group also covers the communications test industry with which the General Purpose Test Program overlaps. There is a number of general purpose test tools like spectrum analyzers that are widely used in the communications industry. We also cover mechanical test and dimensional metrology. Although not the focus of this presentation, we'd be happy to share our thoughts on hot topics for these markets and include your suggestions as well in the 2013 production plans for these programs. Feel free to contact Olga Yeshkova or Vijay Matthew in this regard. Their contact details are provided on this slide. Let me start by summarizing 2012 for the General Purpose Test Program. We had provided an updated view of core markets in 2011, yet we needed to complete it by producing content on remaining core topics such as calibration, bit error testers, data acquisition, and oscilloscopes. Studies on the calibration services market in North America and Europe have been published in 2012. The bit error testers and data acquisition studies, although not published yet, are available in draft format to customers. The last major market update for 2012 remains oscilloscopes. Having said this, while the global study hasn't been updated yet, oscilloscopes have been covered in the various regional studies in 2012, notably in the Chinese, Indian, and Latin American GP test studies. It is also covered in the upcoming Asia-Pac General Purpose Test Study that covers the rest of Asia. The second objective was to increase the level of granularity on each market. General purpose test equipment comes in different form factors addressing different applications. Therefore, there is a need for a deeper analysis of each product market by form factor into benchtop, portable, handheld, and modular. The distribution channels for benchtop instruments vary greatly from that of portable instruments. So we have started including an analysis by distribution channels in various studies and plan for specific deliverables, slicing and dicing the market by distribution channel, form factor, frequency range, bandwidth, etc. The first of such studies will be available soon. It is on the Chinese market and is titled Distribution and Product Analysis of the General Purpose Test Equipment Market in China. With the activity around the latest standards in cellular and wireless networking, particularly 802.11ac, there was a need for a specific study on the RF test equipment market. This study is in progress and expected to be available soon. With the long-term growth for the electronics test and measurement industry lying in emerging regions, the program had a great focus on covering BRIC countries as well as what Frost & Sullivan foresees as the next game changers. Following the 2011 coverage of Russia and China, we published research on the growing Indian general purpose test market in Latin America. Research on the rest of Asia is in progress and should be available shortly. Our goal of providing greater granularity of core markets also applies to emerging regions. As mentioned earlier, the first of such analysis is on the Chinese market and will be available soon. Next, we have planned for a deeper dive into the Indian market. Finally, the program aimed at expanding its product coverage. One area identified for expansion this year was EMC test equipment and services. A short study on the EMC test services market for the A&D industry was published early in the year, and a study on the EMC test equipment and services market in China will appear on our website soon. Against this backdrop, Frost & Sullivan expects to continue its coverage of core markets while increasing the level of granularity into these markets. In addition to the distribution and form factor perspectives, Frost & Sullivan aims at providing a study on the portable handheld general-purpose test and measurement market, as well as dedicated studies on major end-user industries. That would include wireless communications, aerospace and defense, automotive, consumer electronics, energy, and medical devices. This is to help the market development teams of test vendors gain greater insights into their target markets. We will also continue our coverage of emerging markets, tackling new emerging markets not covered before. That would include Africa for general-purpose test equipment, China and India for calibration and repair services, and Southeast Asia for the used and rental equipment market. And we will also dive deeper into emerging markets covered in 2012, such as Latin America. We'll continue our coverage of hot topics such as 802.11 AC testing, mobile handset and tablet manufacturing testing, etc., and expand our product coverage into new areas. New topics under consideration include protocol analyzers and exercisers, electrical test equipment, and instrumentation software. As a result, we have planned for regional topics on the general-purpose test equipment market covering traditional box instruments and modular instrumentation. Following the publication of updated information on the Asian and European market in the last quarter of 2012, we are planning to perform research on the North American and African general-purpose test market, enabling us to publish an updated view of the global market through a bottom-up approach around the middle of 2013. Later on, we would dive deeper into the Latin American market, on which we just released a study, and analyze the market by form factor, distribution channel by product, etc. We'll also update our view of the market in Asia, once again, toward the end of the year. In order to support the market development teams of our customers focused on specific end-user industries, we're also planning on dedicated studies that would focus on major end-user markets as highlighted in this slide. These would include wireless communications, A&D, automotive, medical devices, and energy. While we have covered the global calibration services market in the past, this market is extremely fragmented, and therefore we opted for regional studies in 2012, starting with the North American and European regions. In 2013, we plan to focus on Asia. However, because of the variety of markets across Asia, we have identified China and India as primary targets. We also hope to expand the scope to include repair services in addition to calibration services. With the growth of the general-purpose test market in Latin America, the demand for calibration is sure to follow. We have also planned on a study for this market. A new addition this year to our product lineup would be the instrumentation software market that would cover software solutions for general-purpose test equipment as well as the software platform market. Finally, we are planning to update and expand our view of the semiconductor test market, in which we will cover semiconductor test equipment, including the memory and non-memory segments, as well as test handlers and semiconductor consumables such as test sockets and ATE boards. Covering both the new test equipment market and the second-hand market is also a possibility. Again, as we aim to dive deeper into the general purpose test market and to track the growth of the portable segment in applications in the earlier phases of the product life cycles due to increasing performance, we plan to have a study on the portable handheld test and measurement market. This study will also provide the opportunity to cover more handheld test equipment besides digital multimeters such as clamp meters and installation testers, etc. With RF continuing to be a hot topic, we are planning on an update of our current study in progress, and findings from the study in progress would have an impact on the focus of the 2013 update. Striving to cover more test equipment markets, we're also planning on research to be published on the audio and video test equipment market, however specifically for the Latin American region in which sporting events are expected to drive demand for such equipment. Another such topic would be the EMC test equipment and services market, a topic on which we are publishing a study specifically for China this year, and for 2013 we would be focusing on the North American market. In conclusion, I'd like to thank you very much for your attention and extend an invitation to you to help shape the 2013 production plan for the General Purpose Test Program. My biggest concern remains that our research services make a meaningful contribution to your organization's product development, marketing, and business development efforts. Due to the difficulty to summarize the content of the planned deliverables in a few minutes, I also welcome your questions on the scope of any of the planned studies. The following slides provide the published deliverables for the past 12 months, the deliverable currently in progress and soon to be published, and the remaining planned deliverables for 2012. Again, thank you for your attention.